Hi, everybody. This is Lisa Hufford at Simplicity Consulting. I'm the founder and CEO, and I'm really excited to share with you this workshop today about building your personal brand. So this is my favorite workshop to teach, and I really hope you're able to walk away with some great tips and about your authentic words and what makes you shine and really map into your strengths and passions as you're out there looking for work that really matches your values and who you are as a person. So the goal of this workshop is to build your confidence and credibility. So let's jump in. Why do I need a personal brand? This is a question I get all the time. And the reality is the world we live in, perception is reality. So people may all make judgments when we meet people, and it isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just the way we come into the world, and we're all trying to make sense of people and what their motivations are and the work they do. So the most important thing we can do to be able to manage people's perceptions of us is be intentional about the words we use about ourselves. And that's what we're going to talk a lot about today, is what are those intentional words for you as you're out there looking for your next great opportunity where you want to make an impact and add value and have fulfillment at work. So what are those words that are really going to attract those right opportunities for you that really map to your core skills? Great brands stand out intentionally. So what is a brand? When we think about brands out in the world, we can learn a lot as people. And you think about brands, anything that you're attracted to, any organization or company that you feel affiliation with, those are typically brands that might share values that are important to you. So for example, if someone that's really into the environment, they might be attracted to a brand like Patagonia, because Patagonia has really put a stake in the ground and they really stand for the environment. Some people, when I do this workshop, say Nordstrom is a brand that stands out to them for their customer service. And Nordstrom is another great example of a brand that's really built everything around a great customer experience. So as we think about great brands in the marketplace, really what differentiates them from average brands is they stand for something. And what we can learn from that as people is we need to stand, each of us, stand for something. Because if we try to stand for everything and are too broad, we're not going to stand out. And so this is an opportunity to really think about getting a little more narrow that's going to feel comfortable for you. For example, over the last 14 years since I started my company, and I've worked with thousands of professionals, I work with a lot of marketing leaders. And marketing is one of those areas where you can have a lot of different skills and a lot of different capabilities. So when I say to people, marketing skills, well, what is it about marketing? What is that one area? A lot of people have a really hard time wanting to focus. But generally speaking, they always have an area they love, whether it's the creative aspect or the writing or the project management organization, or the strategic thinking and branding. There's so many different elements. So if you're someone that likes to do it all, that's great, but also really challenge yourself. What is it about marketing, for example, in this scenario, that you really want to be known for? Versus just a great marketing leader, do you want to be known as the best writer or the best brand person or the best Marcom leader? There's so many different, more narrower ways to present yourself. They're going to help you cut through the clutter of just any generic marketing opportunity and really help you stand out based on your experience for those specific opportunities. So that's the most important thing when we think about brands out in the marketplace that are really successful, is they choose to stand for something. And that means they're going to exclude some customers. And so for us that are out there looking for opportunities, it's okay that every job opportunity is not coming your way. In fact, you don't want every job opportunity because you are not built for every single opportunity and every single company out there. You want to differentiate yourself and stand out so that you can really narrow in on those companies where you have great values alignment and that where your contributions are going to be valuable, because that's where you're going to get your most of your satisfaction. So a personal brand is the combination of your strengths and your passions. This is my definition of a personal brand that we're going to get into a little bit in a little bit more detail, but it's really blending what are you naturally great at? What is just easy for you to do? In fact, it feels effortless. And what do you love to do? And this may change throughout your life. And for many of us who have had long careers and different roles and opportunities, we've probably already experienced this. Sometimes you're really into one thing, and then after you mastered it, you grow and you develop into another area. So right now, for the next few years, as you think about the job you're looking for, what is it that you love to do and that you're really good at? That's when you can really hone in on your personal brand and really stand out. This is a personal brand assessment that takes this idea of your strengths and your passions and puts them on these two axes and really looks at how you feel. So you can check in with yourself on where you are with certain opportunities and where you are right now. So at the top on quadrant 1, if you're happy and you feel really confident and you're in that state of flow where you love what you're doing, you lose all track of time, that's kind of the place where you're working out of your highest strength and probably the most passion. You're excited, you feel energized. I think this is what we all look for in work. And maybe not every day is like this in everyone's job, but you want to seek out opportunities where you can feel like this a lot, or you can really build this into your current role. If currently you're working, how can you find more of that in the role you have? And then moving down to quadrant 2, which is something you are super passionate about, but maybe is not a strength yet for you. You're energized, you're kind of uncertain, you're feeling challenged. So this is when you really want to build skill around a certain area of expertise. This might be how you feel when you start a new job. And the goal is to move up to the quadrant 1 because you're really excited about it. You just don't have the mastery yet of the skill. And then the opposite end of the spectrum is quadrant 4, where you're in a role where you're working out of your strength. You've mastered something. It's easy, it's effortless, you're very competent, but you might be bored because you're just kind of not passionate about it anymore. You've done it, you've been there, you've done that. And so wherever, that might be a role you find yourself in for a long time, and then you might be feeling like you want to go to quadrant 2 to kind of feel more energized. So if you're feeling that way in a role currently and you're in quadrant 4, think about what are some new elements, some new learnings that you can incorporate to kind of get back to that feeling of being energized and passionate again. And then quadrant 3 at the bottom is really a place that's kind of a dangerous quadrant to be in. It's in a role where you're not working out of your strengths and you're just not passionate about it. And this could lead to insecurity, maybe you feel scared, even defensive. This is a place of fear. So it's kind of the opposite end of the spectrum, as you can see, working out of fear or working out of love. And for many of us, when you think about working out of love, that's when you're happiest, when you're really contributing the most. For all of us, feeling a sense of fulfillment and impact, that's moving up to that quadrant 1. If we're at the other end of the spectrum and that quadrant 3, those feelings of fear or defensiveness or lack of confidence, those are signals that we're probably not in the right place. And it's really a question to ask yourself, how do I move out of quadrant 3 into one of these other quadrants? Or do I need to change roles altogether? Maybe you're in a job that's just not the right fit for your skills. And remembering you're not a bad person, it's just you're in the wrong role and you need to take action to move yourself into a role you can be successful at, either at that company, or sometimes people find themselves at companies where they don't have a values alignment. Doesn't mean you're a bad person. It doesn't mean it's a bad company. It just means sometimes we're not in alignment, and that's okay. But then you have to take that initiative to find other companies and brands that are in alignment with your values. So back to really understanding your brand and what you're about, and taking that initiative to make that change for yourself, that really you can really live out your personal brand. So we are going to dive into the 5 questions right now to build your personal brand. As Oscar Wilde says, be yourself. Everyone else is already taken. That's really the inspiration around this entire workshop. So these 5 steps on this worksheet, if you haven't downloaded the worksheet, go ahead and do that now, and or you can do that after. But we're going to walk through these questions for yourself, and I'm going to invite you to listen in. I'm going to kind of go through these quickly. So I'm going to ask you to pause after each one for yourself and really take a moment to reflect. But in the interest of time, we're going to go ahead and run through these these 5 questions to help you reflect here on your brand. So the first one is about being aware. So being aware is about understanding how you're showing up every day. Are you living out your intention? Are the words you're saying about yourself in alignment with what you want other people to say about you? Is it awareness of who you are coming across with what you want and how other people see you? So the question here for you to think about and answer is, who do you admire and why? And this could be somebody that you work with, it could be somebody you know, it could be somebody out in the public arena that may be alive or dead. It's not so much the person, it's the attributes. So I want you to focus on the attributes of this person that you're thinking about, and it's really just the first person that jumps to your mind. So what is it about that person? What are those attributes that you admire? So take a moment to write down as many attributes that come to your mind. And after you complete that, I want you to sit back and ask yourself if those attributes are what you want to be seen as in the world. Maybe some of those attributes are how you want to show up. Because like we talked about earlier, we're typically attracted to people that we want to be like, that we admire, that we want those words to also maybe be associated with our brand. So this is an awareness exercise for you to think about some of those words that you wrote down to say, gosh, are some of those words really meaningful to me? And do I want other people to say these words about me? And if I do, what are my actions? How do I show up every day to make sure that people are saying these words about me every day? And so as we get to the end of the exercise, we're going to build on what we call authentic words for yourself. And so some of those words might be clues as to words that you want to continue to build and really showcase as your brand. Moving on to question 2, be unique. So this is about your strengths. This is about really setting up your who you are and your differentiators and things that are easy for you. This is really about your strengths. If you've ever done the go to your strengths exercise, that might give an indication. And this is really think about what comes naturally to you, what you don't even have to work out. What the question here is, what's effortless for you to do? And that might feel weird. It might feel like it's easy. You might feel like, oh gosh, I'm kind of lazy if I'm thinking of what's easy for me to do. But I'm going to invite you to really stay in this place, because that is your unique differentiator. I truly believe everyone has unique gifts and talents, and you probably know what these are. You probably had them ever since you were a child. It's what you naturally gravitated towards, and either you leaned into that with your career or maybe you went away from it, but it's always been who you are. And you might have actually even overlooked it and thought, oh, that's just so easy, can't everyone else do that? But no, that's not true. Actually, what makes you unique is those things that feel so easy for you, because they're not easy for everybody else. So I really want you to think about those things that are so easy for you to do. And I want you to write them down. And if you're struggling with this one, struggling with really understanding what your strengths are and you're not really sure, I want you to reflect on feedback you've received from your previous managers or your peers that you've worked with over the years, because you've probably received feedback that's been consistent over the course of your career about your strengths, about what's easy for you to do. And then that really has been your brand. And you can either choose to accept that as part of what you want to keep promoting, or there might be other areas that also are unique for you and easy for you that you also want to amplify as part of your strengths. So that is around what's being unique for you. And we're going to move on to the third question now, which is about confidence. So this is a question I get all the time. Probably the number one most important question I get is around, how do I build my confidence? And I believe confidence is about remembering your greatness. It's about having conviction about who you are and what you've done well, and really thinking about your successes in a very factual way. sometimes I find with people I've talked to about their successes over the course of their career, and they tend to downplay them maybe because perhaps they don't want to come across as arrogant or bragging. And so if that's you and you feel that way when you talk about your success stories and where you've really shined, think about it more like as a reporter or a journalist, is you're just reporting the facts. And it's not about being arrogant or bragging. You're acknowledging these things that did happen, and you're just stating them literally as facts, because that's what they are. And that kind of helps break that cycle of feeling like maybe you're bragging about yourself when you're not. People need to know what your success stories are so they know where to build. And also we each need to remind ourselves what our success stories are so that it reminds us of our greatness and where we've had success, which are clues as to where we can build future success. So the question around confidence is describe a memorable professional success story. So I want you to think about your entire career, and I want you to remember one time where you felt like you were on top of the world. Maybe you got recognized, maybe you got promoted, whatever the experience was, you just felt a strong sense of success and satisfaction. And I want you to go take some time after this and really write that whole story down. Think about where were you, what were you doing, who are you working with, what attributes were you demonstrating. When you can really get your head around that success story and write it all down, notice how you feel. When I teach this workshop, this is a very powerful exercise because every time people do this, they reflect on that story and all of a sudden they're sitting up a little straighter and they're really excited about remembering that really awesome time in their lives. And though you have many of those stories throughout your career, but focus on one. And then if you really want to build out your profile and your story, think about 3 success stories. And really spend time honing in on a word for you that represents each of these 3 stories. And that frames up really how you talk about yourself. So when someone asks you who you are, and if you want to say, oh, I'm really creative, let me tell you a story of when I was creative, and you can tell the story in about 20 seconds, that gives them enough of a picture and enough evidence about your ability to be creative and that they might want to ask more. And that's also a great interview technique. So think about these success stories as these little confidence builders, but they're also great evidence. So when you go into an interview or you're having a conversation with someone about yourself, you can tap into these stories and you already have them in your head. You're not searching for them, and you've already thought about them really thoroughly, and you've already distilled them down to the nuggets of really what made that story successful. And then you can really share that with people. And when you do that, because you've practiced it, you're going to be confident. You're going to be confident about who you are. You're going to be confident about your skills, and you're really going to know who you are, and your brand is going to shine through. So this is a really powerful exercise to really tap into your success stories. And here's the really cool thing is you get to choose your stories. So I know all of you out there have lots of different stories to choose from. So think about the work that you want next, and what are those stories that really can set the stage for getting more of that work, right? So choose your stories wisely, because whatever stories you tell is what you're going to attract more of. So think about what you want and what are those stories, really that evidence that proves you can do it, and then link those 2 together. Okay, we're going to move on to number 4, be teachable. So this is about investing in yourself and making sure you're constantly growing and learning. And even being here in this workshop is a great way to continue to develop your skills. And this whole day with the Microsoft Alumni Network is phenomenal. There's so much great learning for you to continue to build your skills. So when you think about your brand and what you want to be known for, there are so many different ways to build your skills, whether you listen to podcasts or read books or go to conferences or events, or you find a mentor, whatever way it is for you to learn and to continue to grow in your area of expertise. I want you to write down that one thing that you're going to do to continue to build your brand and continue to be teachable and learn. And this is something we do our whole lives. We're never done learning. And this helps build your brand and differentiate you with whatever your discipline is. This could be something, maybe you want to work on leadership skills or communication skills or public speaking, or perhaps you want to go learn a new programming language, or you want to learn digital marketing, or you want to learn social media, whatever it is, or PMP. I've had people over the years say, should I get my PMP certificate? I really want to be seen as a project manager. So whatever it is for you that you really want to stand out, this investing in yourself, you get to choose what you want to learn. This helps build your brand and shows you're a professional in this area and you're committed to continuing to work on your personal and your professional development. So write down that thing you're going to do that's going to help continue to build your brand, and then go do it. And last but not least, be kind. This is about being kind to yourself, because we've just walked through setting the stage for your awesome personal brand, your strengths, your passions, your success stories. But if you are not able to believe it yourself, then no one else is going to believe it. So we have to really be aware of those self-limiting thoughts that we all have. Everybody has these. Even really successful people have self-limiting thoughts. They have those little things, those monkeys in your mind, those things that go through your head, those inner critic that might pop up, and it's really a mechanism to protect us. And so it's acknowledging when that pops up for you, especially as you're building your brand and you're stating these awesome facts about yourself. If you feel that inner critic pop up, like, who are you? Who are you to say this? People aren't going to believe this, or whatever that language that you might hear, those voices in your head that we all hear, just pause and recognize it. And think about, what's the one thing you're going to do to combat that inner critic? Because it's going to come up. It comes up for all of us as we push ourselves to learn and grow. That's part of the process, is we're going to feel resistance. So how do we recognize it, but don't listen to it, right? And just move through it. And part of this too is really getting back to those success stories. Whenever you're having a down day, if you're not feeling so good, go back and read your own success stories. That will give you that boost of confidence to remind you of your greatness, because you have it. Everybody has greatness, and you have to remind yourself and kind of keep filling up your own well in order to be out there and be the confident person and positive person that is going to be hired. And I realize if you're in a job search, it can be a grind. It can be hard. And it can be hard to hear no over and over again. Even if there are opportunities you're not interested in, it still doesn't feel great to hear that. But you have to remember, every no gets you closer to that yes. And that's a gift. No's are gifts. It's really reframing that way of thinking, because every time you hear that wasn't the right opportunity for you. And that just means there's something better. You just don't know when it's coming, but it's coming. There's going to be something that's perfect for you. When you find it, it's going to be like, oh, this is the perfect thing with my brand. I'm going to feel fulfilled. So really being kind to yourself and recognizing this is a process. Everyone goes through this. Maybe it doesn't feel good, but it's okay, because we're all growing and learning, and you're going to get through it. So take some pressure off yourself. Get clear on your personal brand and who you are. Continue to reach out and build relationships with people that can support you. Seek support through this time. And really show up as yourself. Don't compromise, because again, you're unique. Oh, there's only you out there, and whoever hires you is going to be lucky. So you want to look for that right opportunity where that client or that manager recognizes and appreciates who you are. So hold out for that, because it's out there. So as we bring all these 5 steps together to build your personal brand statement, this is a combination of your what and your why. So your what is typically what you do. It might be your title, whatever title you give yourself. And I'm really going to encourage you to spend some time thinking about your why. This is really your motivation. This is what people actually really want to know about you. This is the thing that really doesn't change no matter what your what is. So you could have lots of different roles and lots of different jobs throughout your life, but your why about who you are at the core probably really doesn't change. And so this could be about helping people. This could be about really contribution, about impact. Everyone has a different way that of how they think about their why. And so for you, what is your why? What really motivates you to do the work that you love? And then that will help inform really also your what, and defining the next opportunity for you. So in closing, as Howard Thurman says, don't ask what the world needs, ask what makes you come alive, and go do it. Because what the world needs is more people who have come alive. And my hope for you is that this information about your personal brand really is the guiding light, that North Star that really helps you understand what that flame is and that light is within you, that makes you really feel alive and really go do that, because the world needs all of our unique contributions. So in closing, I'm going to invite you to take action. So there's a couple ways to stay engaged with us. First of all, build your brand. Download the Personal Brand Playbook at the link here. That's a free playbook, basically what I just went through with more detail and the questions. Download it, go through it with your often. I have people that tell me they go through this playbook every year or two, because we change and we evolve, and sometimes it's great to look back at some things we said about ourselves, or remind ourselves, and as we move forward and think about what we want to do next. So you're in control of your personal brand. Use that resource often. Join our team. So we are in the booth here at the Microsoft Alumni Network virtual event. Our talent team is ready to talk to you. If you're someone who has marketing, communications, business operations background, we want to talk to you. We've got great opportunities on our team. You can also email us at talent@simplicityci.com. And we really look forward to the opportunity to partner with you. So thank you so much, and go build your personal brand.